Welcome back to the deep dive. We're continuing our journey, our really deep look into Oliver Klacik's debut album, A Night on the Earth.
Yeah, and if you've been following along, you know the narrator's path so far has been, well, pretty rough.
That's putting it mildly. We started deep in the despair of, yes, I know, right? That feeling of absolute betrayal.
Exactly. A definitive end. Finding out the love was all lies. The lyric, yes, I know that you're gone, but the pain keeps going on, that just set the stage. It's inescapable pain.
And then track two, Laughing in the Rain, wasn't really about healing, was it? It was more like this strange, almost manic waiting period.
6 months. 6 months of waiting for someone, this crying in the vein, only to get a telegram saying basically, sorry, more work, wait longer, indefinite delay.
So the narrator's been steeped in mistrust, abandonment, hopelessness, really. Futility seems like the key word.
That's the baggage, that feeling of being constantly misled, constantly let down. Profound relational trauma is what we're dealing with as we head into track 3.
Which brings us to today's focus. Track 3, Now I Know. It's described as a rock ballad, written back in 1995. And our mission today really is to unpack how this narrator, after all that, manages to break free. How do they move from betrayal and endless waiting to find certainty? Specifically, the certainty of mutual love.
And the song description itself gives us a huge clue. It explicitly says this track is about love that was initially unfulfilled but becomes reality.
Ah, okay, so the potential was there but unrealized until now.
Exactly. And the key phrase, the title itself, Now I Know, is described as the moment that reassures the narrator that love is mutual.
Mutual, that feels incredibly important after the last two tracks.
It's everything. It's the psychological antidote. Track 1 was one-sided deception. Track 2 was one-sided waiting, isolation. Mutuality, if it's real this time, resolves that core conflict. The conflict between what the narrator feels and what's actually true.
Okay, but let's dig into that, because getting to certainty, especially after being burned so badly, that's not easy. It's not like flipping a switch, right?
Not at all. And you see that hesitation, that shadow of the past, right away in the opening verses of Now I Know.
Yeah, if you were expecting this immediate explosion of joy, it's more tentative than that, isn't it? The narrator still seems wary.
Definitely wary. The paranoia from the previous betrayals is still there. Even in what seems like a new, potentially good relationship, they're approaching it with, well, almost like they're vetting the other person psychologically.
How does that come across in the lyrics?
It's in the questions they ask right at the start. They aren't making statements of love. They're asking for proof, probing, almost investigative questions.
Like, tell me, do you dream about me every night you sleep?
Exactly. And then right after, when you look at the stars, do you see my love so deep?
Okay, unpack that for us. Why are those questions significant? They sound kind of romantic on the surface.
They do, but think about the implication. They're asking for evidence of the partner's feelings when the narrator isn't there. Do you think about me when you're unconscious, asleep? Do you feel my love when you're looking at something vast and impersonal like the stars?
Ah, so it's about whether the connection exists independently of their physical presence.
Precisely. After the last relationship turned out to be just a performance, maybe only real when they were together, the narrator needs proof that this connection runs deep, that it consumes the partner's inner world just as much as it consumes theirs.
That's the trauma response, isn't it? You can't trust what you see right in front of you anymore.
You can't. You need proof that goes beyond the interaction itself. You need assurance that your intense feelings are being mirrored accurately, proportionally. It's a survival mechanism.
Like, if I sense any doubt, any mismatch, I need to pull back before I get hurt again, before they end up crying in the vein for nothing.
It really speaks volumes about the psychological damage. We know from the context of the album, this person's soul was burning with pain before, so any new validation has to be strong enough to overcome that memory, that suspicion.
Makes sense. They need to really establish the intensity before they can, I guess, let themselves fully believe this time.
And that need for external proof, for validation, gets reinforced later in the lyrics too. There's a direct reference to the past suffering.
Right, where they talk about the times when I thought you'd never be mine.
Yeah, and the result, my soul was burning with pain every night.
That phrase, burning with pain, it's so visceral. It's not just sadness.
No, it's like complete internal destruction. Referencing it here does two things.
Yeah.
It reminds us, the listeners, of the stakes, the depth of the past suffering. And it frames the current relationship's success. This isn't just getting over a little crush. It's like rising from emotional ashes.
So the current happiness feels incredibly precious, but also Maybe precarious? Hard won, definitely.
Extremely hard one.
Right.
And because the cost of getting it wrong again is so high that total psychological burning, the narrator has to confront the fundamental reality of this relationship.
Which leads to that final, crucial question before the big revelation. And this one, for me, really echoes the deception from track one.
It's the trauma coming right to the surface, isn't it? The question,
Yeah.
is it love between you and me or something else instead? That isn't
Yeah.
real.
Yeah, I mean, listening to it, you almost want to say, but you just said you feel the magic. You're asking about dreams, don't you know? But the past looms large.
It looms incredibly large. Is that line necessary? Absolutely. Because remember track one, the narrator thought it was love then too. They were utterly convinced only to discover it was something else instead. A lie. Not real.
So their ability to trust their own perception, their subjective feeling was shattered.
Completely shattered. So now they can't just feel their way into joy. They need confirmation that this current beautiful feeling is fundamentally different from the previous beautiful illusion. They need to know it won't just disappear when they metaphorically wake up.
It's the core fear. Is this solid? Or is it just another ghost?
Exactly. It's the moment they demand, essentially, a guarantee that this relationship won't send them back to that place of burning pain or futile waiting.
So the real prize in this song isn't just love, it's certainty. Certainty that the love is real, and crucially, that it's mutual.
That's the heart of it. And it's right after laying all that fear bare, after that psychological interrogation, that the breakthrough finally happens.
The moment they find the proof they need, leading to the title, Now I Know.
Yes. And that statement, now I know, feels so decisive, doesn't it? Especially compared to the confusion, the ambiguity, the awful waiting signal of that telegram and laughing in the rain.
Total opposite. This feels like an arrival.
It's the psychological release the album's been building towards. Absolute clarity, resolution, the waiting, the ambiguity, it's over. They've broken out of that loop.
Monumental for the narrative arc.
Huge. It signifies the end of that painful isolation. And as we noted, the song description is really specific. This knowledge is about mutuality.
Right. Reassured that love is mutual. Why is that specific word mutual so critical here? Why not just, now I know you love me, or now I know this is real?
Because mutual directly answers the specific wounds of the previous tracks. Track one wasn't just lack of love, it was one-sided deception. The narrator loved, the other person didn't, and lied about it.
Okay.
Track two wasn't just waiting, it was one-sided effort. The narrator poured everything into waiting, crying in the vein, while the other person seemed indifferent, sending that cold telegram.
Ah, I see. So mutuality means the investment is shared, the feeling goes both ways.
Exactly. It means the emotional weight is balanced, it's protected, it's shared. That validation proves the whole struggle wasn't just pointless suffering, it was a journey towards something genuine. This certainty isn't just nice, it's deeply healing. It addresses that core fear of being alone in the feeling, or worse, being lied to about it.
The relief must be enormous. But what's interesting is how the narrator handles this certainty once they have it. They don't just say, now I know once and move on.
No, they don't. The phrase is repeated. A lot. Often with that little prefix, but now I know.
Yeah, but now I know. What's the significance of that repetition?
I think that's where you really feel the weight of the past.
Yeah.
If this was just a simple song about falling in love, maybe you'd say it once, twice, celebrating. Here, the repetition feels like a mantra.
Like they're trying to convince themselves as much as declare it.
Or maybe cementing it, insisting on it to drown out that persistent whisper of doubt, the voice of past trauma, reminding them of the burning pain, the lies.
That but in But Now I Know feels important too. It explicitly creates a contrast.
Yes. It says, I haven't forgotten the pain. I remember when my soul was burning, but despite that, now I know this is different. It forces us, the listeners, to hold both the past struggle and the present triumph in mind simultaneously. It makes the knowledge feel earned, not just stumbled upon.
It's like someone recovering from a serious illness, maybe. They know they're better, but they keep checking their symptoms just to be sure.
That's a great analogy. The repetition is that constant self-affirmation, keeping the past in its place as a memory, not an active threat. And the rock ballad format really helps here. It gives the declaration power, space. It needs to be allowed certainty to overcome the loud memory of pain.
So it's the sound of the narrator finally grabbing the reins of their own emotional reality, refusing to be defined by what happened before.
He can control, exactly. And significantly, the song grounds this newfound certainty not just in thoughts or words, but in physical sensory experience.
Right, the lyrics move straight from now I know into these images of physical connection. That feels important for someone recovering from this kind of trauma.
Critical. Abstract promises, words, they failed the narrator before. They need something tangible, undeniable. Physical touch becomes the language of truth here.
So let's look at that imagery. First, holding hands. When I hold your hands like this, I feel the magic of your love.
Okay, holding hands. Often it's just an early sign of romance, right?
Yeah.
But here, given the context of betrayal, it feels like it symbolizes something deeper, like safety, maybe.
Yeah, after the trauma, maybe even simple touch felt dangerous, potentially deceitful.
Could be. So the fact that holding hands is experienced as magic, that's a strong word. It suggests something almost unbelievable, miraculous, like I never thought I'd feel this sense of safe connection again. It elevates it beyond just simple affection. It's transcendent because it overcomes so much past pain.
It makes the abstract idea of mutual love feel real, grounded in that physical contact. The hands that maybe felt empty before now transmit magic.
Precisely. And then that physical confirmation escalates almost immediately to the next image, which directly tackles the darkness of the past.
And when I touch your lips, I feel the brightness of a dawn.
Brightness of a dawn. That imagery isn't random, is it? It feels deliberately chosen.
Absolutely. We know from Yes, I Know, the narrator was in the darkest nights, feeling so dark deep inside. Dawn is the complete opposite of that.
It's the ultimate symbol of a new beginning, rebirth. Darkness represents ignorance, sorrow, being stuck. Dawn is clarity, hope, life returning.
So the kiss isn't just romantic.
I think it's more. It's almost like a ritual act. It symbolically chases away the shadows. The narrator isn't just feeling happier, they feel fundamentally reset. That long night of pain and waiting is finally over. The physical kiss is the undeniable proof.
It's the definitive answer to that paranoid question from before. Is it real? Yes, it's real. It's illuminated by the dawn, not hidden in the night.
Beautifully put. It's substance, not shadow. And yet, even with this powerful, confirming imagery, the song doesn't suggest the past is just gone.
No, it doesn't quite feel like a complete erasure, does it?
Not entirely. Because right near the end, even under this bright dawn, you still see the scar tissue. The narrator goes back to asking questions.
Yeah, those final questions. Tell me, baby, are you happy when you're in my arms? And does your heart cry out for help when I'm not around?
They feel different from the earlier questions, though, don't they? Less investigative, maybe more caring.
That's a good point. The first set felt like testing. Do you feel my love? These feel more focused on the partner's well-being. Are you happy?
Exactly. It shows real emotional growth, I think. Moving from self-focused pain, needing validation for their own feelings, to genuine mutual care. Concern for the partner's happiness, their feelings when separated.
But the need to ask is still there. Even with the certainty of now I know, they still seek that verbal confirmation.
And that feels incredibly realistic, doesn't it? Trauma doesn't just vanish. It changes how you experience things, even happiness. They know they're happy, they know it's mutual now, but that hard-won security feels fragile.
So they need to keep checking in, actively tending to the certainty.
Yes, actively protecting it by seeking ongoing confirmation. The repetition of now I know was maybe the internal battle. These final questions are the external check-in, the manifestation of that lingering need for reassurance. It's the human cost of surviving betrayal.
It creates this wonderful tension. The music gives you the power, the certainty, but the lyrics remind you it's precious, maybe needs constant attention.
It perfectly captures the complexity.
Yeah.
So, if we zoom out and look at these first three tracks together, A Night on the Earth starts with this incredibly powerful emotional arc.
Yeah, Klacik really takes you on a journey. Track 1. Pure, isolating despair and betrayal.
Then track 2, that weird, anxious state of futile hope and indefinite delay, waiting for something that never comes.
And now track 3, finally arriving at mutual certainty and fulfillment. Even if it's complex, it's a resolution.
It's a complete emotional recovery narrative, laid out musically, from rock bottom through frustrating limbo to a place of earned clarity.
And we should probably just touch on the production context again briefly. You mentioned these were written in 95, 96.
That's right. These raw, very human feelings, the doubt, the soul burning, the hard-won certainty, they come from compositions nearly 3 decades old.
But they reach us now through this modern 21st century production using Sunsio.ai. Can you remind us quickly what role that plays?
Sure. Essentially, Sunsio.ai here acts as a high-fidelity synthesis engine. It takes the original musical ideas, the composition, and renders the performance. The idea isn't to replace the human element, but to deliver that original vulnerability with incredible clarity and precision.
So the synthetic perfection people might hear isn't about being artificial. It's about clarity.
Exactly. It actually amplifies the emotional core, I think. It makes the vulnerability of the original composition feel very immediate, very piercing for a listener today. That journey from past pain to present peace feels crystal clear.
It closes this first big chapter of the album, the sorrow, the uncertainty, with this strong, albeit complex, statement of, okay, I know now.
A really resonant conclusion to that phase.
Okay, so as we wrap up our deep dive into Now I Know, let's leave you, the listener, with something to think about, tying back to that hard-won certainty.
We've established this knowledge, this now I know moment, was incredibly costly. Paid for with betrayal, lies, soul-burning pain, months of waiting.
So how does knowing that backstory affect how you hear this declaration? Does the fact that the narrator endured so much make this newfound love feel more stable, like rooted in a deep resilience, maybe unbreakable?
Or does the shadow of that trauma, the things we just discussed, the repetition, the final questions, suggest something else? Does it mean this happiness is always going to be fighting for its life, requiring constant vigilance, constant affirmation?
Is the narrator truly healed, or are they in a state of, let's say, cherished remission that needs careful management?
But that tension, I think, is what makes the track so rich, the balance between the joy of arrival and the echoes of the journey.
And with the narrator having found this clarity, however complex it might be, the album has to move forward. What comes next?
Well, the emotional landscape shifts again. The challenges seem to become more external now, perhaps. The next track we'll be diving into is track 4, 3 Million Miles.
3 million miles. Okay, the title alone suggests distance.
Exactly. It's listed as a blues ballad. So the question becomes, can this hard-won certainty, this mutual love established in Now I Know, withstand physical separation? Does distance threaten it, or is the bond strong enough now?
Does the dawn hold even when they're far apart? That will be fascinating to explore.
It sets up the next stage of the narrator's emotional test.
We will definitely be here to unpack 3 million miles in our next deep dive. Join us then as we continue exploring the architecture of A Night on the Earth. Until then, keep digging.